Let's get started. My name is Maggie and I work in event marketing at Quorum. And I want to welcome you to our webinar today, Stop Chasing Data, Build One Source of Truth for Gas, Trading, and Transportation. I also want to highlight our presenters. Lindsay Saunders is a Senior Solution Architect at Quorum Software, and Kirsten Pittman is a Business System Analyst at Black Hills. And now I'm going to pass it over to Lindsay, who will introduce herself and get started with today's content.
Thanks, Maggie. Hey, everyone. Like Maggie mentioned, I am a Senior Solution Architect here at Quorum, and I am super excited to have Kirsten here with me today. Black Hills is a longtime customer of Quorum, and we have a great partnership that we're excited to share some of the details of with you all today. So speaking of what we're going to talk about today, here's some takeaways from today's session that you should learn by the end of our talk today. So first up, we're going to talk about how measurement can become your single source of truth when you are using integrated systems, and then also taking your business from spreadsheets to a single integrated workflow, and how that helps replace disconnected systems and gives you a more auditable data trail. And then real world outcomes with Black Hills. So we'll talk to Kirsten about some of the real examples that Black Hills has seen from going live with My Quorum Pipeline and FLOWCAL. And then we will talk about our enrollments module within My Quorum Pipeline and how that drives efficiency for Black Hills as well. So the problem that we see across the energy industry, but especially in the utility space, is that data lives everywhere. There are disparate spreadsheets, disconnected systems, and that gives you really no single source of truth for your data. So when you have all these different spreadsheets that you're in and out of every day, there can be copy-paste errors. It's not really auditable, and that leads to some invoicing risks, right? You may not get your invoices right if there are any type of manual errors on those spreadsheets where you're doing all these manual calculations. So that can lead to, corrections after the month closes, volume disputes with customers. And then really those disconnected systems, when you have measurement not feeding into your scheduling data to create allocations and create invoice data, there's no single workflow. And so what you really need is one operational record that the whole organization can trust. And that's where Quorum can come in. We really provide one single source of truth for the utility space, and it's driven by your measurement data. So that measurement data from FLOWCAL feeds into the rest of our Quorum systems, and that with your scheduling and nomination data feeds into allocations and invoicing. And that measurement, because it's the root of all of the invoices later down the line, accuracy with that measurement provides accuracy through the rest of your processes. And using these Quorum products that are integrated is a single workflow. It eliminates a lot of reconciliation after the month, and then also lets you generate your invoices from the same data as your measurement and allocations, which just speeds up your month-end close process and leads to more accurate invoices. So here are some before and afters that we see that are typical in the energy industry for before using Quorum systems and then after using integrated FLOWCAL with My Quorum Pipeline. So I wanted to hear from you, Kirsten, specifically. This slide has some great examples, but I'd love to hear what Black Hills was experiencing prior to Quorum and what drove the decision to move to a unified integrated system.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Our main driver was that we had 3 different systems that didn't talk to each other. So we were making the same change through all 3 systems. One was used for tracking, another was used for billing, and then another used for record keeping. So anything came across, we had to do it in all 3 systems. And it's actually, I've been with Black Hills for 6 years, and I didn't even think of what we did before because I've only ever used Quorum. And so it was interesting going through listening to everybody that I talked to about the processes and how long it took of just like they didn't communicate to each other. If something didn't get changed correctly, it caused a lot of issues. And I know that in this slide we have like manual spreadsheets and measurement tracking, and that's what it was. It was a lot of manual stuff and a lot of human error. So the main driver was the fact that the systems talked to each other to not have that human error and to help our invoices at the end of the month.
That makes total sense. Do you think it helps too to have an audit trail so that when you have to go back and look at a prior month, you're not just looking at a spreadsheet that could have been updated by anybody that has access to it?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember doing something a few years ago and we were being audited, and it was nice that I could just go to one specific screen and pull everything up for whatever year it was that they needed and had everything there. I didn't have to go and pull it from like 4 different spreadsheets to put it into one spreadsheet and then hope that audit was like, okay, yeah, that will work. Like this was there, it had the dates, it had the times, it had who did it. And then in some cases it told them like why that was done. So that was super helpful and it made my job a lot easier.
That's great. So I wanted to hear from the audience. So there's a poll question that should be popping up for you all. And what is going to pop up is a question of, if you manage multiple systems for measurement, scheduling, enrollments, invoicing, which challenge do you encounter the most? And there's some options here that have popped up for you all to choose from. Okay. And some of those options that you should be seeing are manual tracking of nominations and measurement data, difficulty auditing invoices, or making prior period adjustments, or incomplete or inconsistent customer enrollment records. I'm going to give it just a second for the polls to pop up. Okay.
Okay, Lindsay, I'm going to close the poll.
Great. And did we have some results on that, Maggie?
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and share the results. It looks like 43% selected manual tracking of nominations and measurement data, 57% selected difficulty auditing invoices and making PPAs, and 14% incomplete or inconsistent customer enrollment records.
Interesting. Auditing is a very big topic of conversation. It's come up a lot, even in more recent conversations I've had. So that doesn't surprise me, but it is interesting. Okay. All right. Did it jump back to my screen share just to make sure, Kirsten?
Yeah, I can see your screen now.
Good. Great. Okay. So the next topic I want to dive into with you, Kirsten, is our enrollments module that we built in partnership with Black Hills and a couple of other customers at Quorum. And really what this module does is allow you to manage your enrollments in a more automated fashion in the system. And it is integrated to a CIS system via API. And so I'd love to hear from you a little bit about how you use that system, Kirsten, and what benefits you've seen from the enrollments module within My Quorum Pipeline.
Yeah, this one as well. I didn't know there was something before Quorum and the enrollment process. So going through it and talking again, it was just interesting to hear the steps we had to take to it. It was a really longer process of you'd have to make the change in one and then go into CIS, like you were saying, and make that change there. Whereas now the enrollment process goes in, and if it's a service point moving from one account to another account, go in, make that change in our enrollment screen. It goes into our QPTM database and basically end dates it, starts the new SP or service point, on that account. And then it talks to CIS where that's already done, that change now through the API that you were saying goes into CIS. And so that's something we don't have to do. We don't have to make sure, okay, hey, let's go manually end date this service point on this account. Let's go manually add it. Here, the enrollment process is just one and done, which has been super nice for us.
That's great. And what I love about the enrollments module is because those changes are automated. When measurement comes in from FLOWCAL, it's already assigned to the right account. All of the data is kind of already set up and accurate. You're not having to go back and make changes and rerun processes or any of that.
Yeah, and what I
noise.
also like about that is we have a process that will alert us if something didn't go over to FLOWCAL correctly measurement-wise, or if didn't come into QPTM correctly from FLOWCAL. So that's great for us. And then it also alerts us if for some reason one of our customers was doing an enrollment and they got an error, and they don't see it or they don't know what to do, we get alerted from it through the enrollment process. So then we can go in and fix it and make sure that everything like worked correctly for them. Which is great because then it's all three systems are talking to me, my team, they're talking to us. That way we can get that corrected right away. And most time it's just human error of typing in something wrong, but it is super nice that they all talk to each other to let us all know. That way not one is erroring out or something and then the other two continue. But so that's one of the things I really like about it.
I'm so glad you brought that up. You know, I think one of the biggest benefits of using an integrated system is that those email notifications that you can set up to get notified when something goes wrong, you're not having to wait on a customer to call you and say, hey, my data is not right and I don't know why. And then you're looking back and figuring out something that maybe they clicked on wrong 4 days ago. You're able to kind of fix it in the moment.
Real-time data, like you were saying, it's great having that it does get an email right, or we get an email right away. And it's not something where the customer is reaching out, like you said, 4 days later, and then we're like, okay, well, who did what 4 days ago? So it's real time, and the emails are customized in a sense, like it tells us who did it, when they did it, and what they were doing.
That's awesome. Okay, well, thank you for that, Kirsten. So I just wanted to kind of wrap this up with some of the key takeaways from today. So I'm hoping that you all heard about how defendable measurement data is the root of every downstream decision, so that you can trace your invoices all the way back to your measurement and your scheduled quantities. And then you can replace your spreadsheets and all these disparate systems with a single integrated workflow, which really reduces the risk of manual errors and invoice disputes later down the line. And then we heard from Black Hills about some of their real world results from moving from disparate systems to a fully integrated system. And then we heard about managing enrollments in Quorum specifically with that enrollments module that just really drives efficiency and kind of reduces manual errors across the board. And I think we have a lot of time left for questions. So if there are any questions in the chat, I'd love to hear. Baggy, I'm not sure if you want to shout them out or if anything has popped up.
Yes, let's see. Kirsten, before Black Hills went live with My Quorum Pipeline and FLOWCAL, what did a typical month-end close look like, and what was the single biggest pain point you were trying to solve?
Yeah, so single pain point was that it was through a bunch of different systems. So one of them was where we did all of our changes or the nominations for everything, making sure that was done. And then we would have to like close that system. And then the next one is where it would be billed at. So we had to then manually take what we just put into system 1 into system 2, have it be billed through there. And then have to take that bill and put it into our CIS, which was our system that we use still, but in this scenario, it was used for record keeping. So it was a lot of like repetitive, but within the different systems of making sure we followed everything, dotted all of our I's, crossed all of our T's, and went through that. So it took a lot longer, whereas now through FLOWCAL and Quorum, everything talks to each other. So now we're able to close everything within QPTM, and it sends everything to our CIS and to FLOWCAL to where it's done. There's a little bit more procedure-wise we have to follow, maybe just a couple more check boxes to make sure we do it in the correct order, but it's done just right then and there. And if everything goes smoothly and there's nothing that we need to double check, it takes a very small amount of time and compared to what it used to take. So
Awesome. And then Lindsay, for a company that's still relying on spreadsheets and disconnected systems, what's typically the hardest part of the transition, and what does Quorum do to make that change stick?
No, I think change management is really important. You want to really, if you're moving to a system from spreadsheets, you want to make sure that you're getting accurate results. So Quorum has a really great services team who helps each of our customers making that transition from spreadsheets into our system. And there's a really great testing process we recommend where we do some parallel testing. So we, for a particular business day or set of business days, we recommend, really testing that system against your spreadsheets and making sure the results are just as accurate or maybe even more accurate. And we really work with our customers to how to really, enable their internal users with change management as well as their external users. A lot of our customers have their customers logging into the system to do things like enrollments, right? So we try to help provide robust training and tools like our new Kai engine within our application that can help users find what they need without having to make a phone call every single time they have a question.
Awesome. And I think that was all the questions that we had today. So if you want to wrap up, that would be good.
Yeah. Thank you all for attending today. And if you do have any other questions, you can reach out to us. Please visit us at quorumsoftware.com or reach out to your account team if you know that person. And we would love to hear more from you. And hopefully if you have time to fill out the survey, that would be great as well. It helps us take that feedback for future sessions.
Yep. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.